Hello, this is Gene. I want to talk about this Harrison Butler or Buckler controversy. I don't think there's any controversy here at all. He was speaking at a Catholic university and he was talking to the people in the room. And what we find out the last couple of days is that he can't get the white women angry. He just can't do it. There was a book about 10 years ago that came out that says, "Don't make the black people angry." I forget what the guy's name. He was somebody that was on the forefront of talking about black criminality and what we need to do to fix that. Um, and he did a book about it. And he was on the podcast and stuff. And I think recently he died. But right now you can't really talk about. It's really the white liberal women or those who claim to be white until they're called out. The ones that we have to talk about recently. Um, So he talked about a lot of things in his whole thing, and he talked about really what it means to be a Catholic man and the roles that a Catholic man have to say. And he talks about a lot of things. He even talks about how Congress has passed that bill that says you can't really say anything about who actually killed Jesus in this country that was formed on Christian beliefs. Now, I'm not a Catholic. My wife works at a Catholic school. We don't go to church. We're not practicing Catholics. I mean, she reads the Bible. She looks at other things. She goes to mass at school. She was more liberal, but as she gets older in life, she understands why those things in the Bible are there. So she's a very career-oriented woman, but she also puts family above everything. And that's really all this man said. And the vitriol that he's getting online, it's not shocking because whenever you call him out, if you say that you've been fed this lies for the last 50 years about how you have to go to work that makes you more valuable in society, that women have to go to work, that'll make them more, like I said, more valuable. And that's all fine, but that's not what happened. They say go to work, but then they downgrade what it really means to be a mother and a homemaker and stuff. So I'm going to read what he says. I'm going to read a little bit what he says to the gentleman in the crowd. And remember, he said he's talking directly to the people there. Now, he's a Catholic or a Christian or whatever, and you're supposed to mentor, what's the word? Not serve. It's what you're supposed to do when you come up to people. You're supposed to spread the word. So he's doing that regardless, but he's there talking to those people in the crowd, and he specifically talks to them. And if you go and listen to the speech, there are things that you may not like. He talks about, the pronouns and the gay movement and birth control. When he talks about the government and the president sitting there at a pro-choice conference, and he's using this there. When he's a Catholic, it makes no sense. And we need to stand up. If you're going to be somebody that professes that you're a Catholic or a Christian, pro-choice is not a good thing. And I would think everybody that's on TikTok and all these people that signed this petition to get him fired are all white women or Jewish women, and they're all pro-choice. And most of them are young or they're older, middle-aged, and they had bad lives with men. And they're just upset about men. So 30 minutes, this is near at the end of the whole thing. And some people brought the whole thing about IVH and the stuff he talked about, pride stuff and stuff like that. But the biggest thing that's online is the fact that he actually had the temerity in front of college-educated women to say things like this. And I'll try to do as best as I can. Those who watch me know that I had a stroke. I can't always read and say the exact same thing. You could, of course, look it up. It's on Forbes. You get the entire transcript. But I'm going to just try as best as I can, and we'll talk about it. It says, for the ladies present today, people inside the room, congratulations on your amazing accomplishments. What I heard online is that he was wanting women to go back in the kitchen. That's what I heard so many times on TikTok. There's nothing in his speech that says you should go back in the kitchen unless he thinks that it's very powerful and necessary that in a child's formative years that maybe the woman should stay at home. Maybe. Says you should be proud of all that you've achieved to this point in your young lives. And then he says, I want to speak to you directly because people are not doing this. They say shit to women and no one checks what they say, especially universities. Now, these people go to Catholic universities, but the Catholic Church and the universities have been also indoctrinated by a lot of things that we have to deal with. So I want to speak to you briefly because I think it is you, the woman, who have the most diabolical lies talk to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross the stage and all are thinking about the promotions and titles you're going to get in your career. Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess to the majority of you, and I think that's still the case today, will be more excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you about my own beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say her life truly started when she began her life as vocation as a wife and a mother. Apparently this is misogynist that says that the women didn't have a real life until they meet the man and had a baby. Okay. Then he goes on to say this, and he's cheering up during this time. I'm on the stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leads into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but I can't overstate that all my success is made possible because a girl I met in a band's class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. She is primary educator to our children. She is the one who ensures I'll never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and a father. She is the person that knows the best of me at my core, and through this and our marriage, that Lord willing, will both maintain our salvation. I say this because I've seen at first how happy someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move forward and moving closer and closer to God's will in their life. Maybe this is what they're upset about. And it's also the same thing. When you bring in religion into it, these empowered females don't want nothing to do with it because in their own mind, they think they're God. And I'll say it a billion times on this channel. The most privileged people in the Western world is the white liberal female and those who claim to be white. It says, Isabel's dream of have a career might not have come true, but if you ask her today if she's any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud and without hesitation say, heck no. And he goes on talking about what Catholic birth control and that type of thing. And he says to the gentleman here, and no one really talks about this, but they're upset about this too. Part what plagues our society today is a lie they've been told to you that men are not necessarily in the home or in the community. It is. It absolutely is. That's what's happened. We have no value in the society. Even though we run everything and we build everything. As men, we set the tone in the culture. And when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos lets in the aspect of men. In the home, it plays a low. Anyway, he's basically saying that it's plagued everybody's communities, especially in the black community, especially without men in the home. We talk about this on this channel. What happened is black women have married the government, and therefore their children are creating crime at a higher level than any other race there is. And it all goes back to the fact that there's no fathers in the home. But what I said, there are things in here that I could see other people get upset about it. But I have not really seen anybody come out and say he said something anti-Semitic, even though he kind of said that because based on our own government, you can't really say that the Jews killed Jesus, that he or led to the Jesus being killed, even though they did. And when they want to legislate that, and a guy stands up and professes his faith in Jesus, and he does it at a Christian or Catholic school, and then you have these white women that get online and they're freaking out, and they think that he wants them to be in the kitchen. Is that all the women do? It's one of those weird things about this idea of the assumption that we have to help black people all the time because they're so stupid. You know, that so many Democratic policy makers that sit there and say, well, they don't really know how to get ID, or they don't really understand how to use a computer because there's no computers in the hood, I guess. When we all know that this thing is a fucking computer, and it's rare that a black person doesn't have this, and it's rare that they don't have an ID of any kind. But this failure of obsession, I forget the word that it is, low expectation. It's the same thing with women. They think that being a homemaker means all you're doing is going and making food for the day, not the fact that they're into educating and doing stuff with their kids, see them go through their milestones, actually have social networks with other women. That's really good for society, and it's not for every woman, but it is for most. And they don't want to. These women don't understand that. Now, some of them maybe they're very focused and have a career and all that stuff, but almost without fail, 30 years later, we're going to see them online, and they're going to be crying because they never had kids, and they don't have anybody to share the last part of their life with, because their drive to just do everything to apparently have more money, or go on these trips, or have all the creature comforts, damages women. It's not great for men either. Most guys a lot of people get money, influencers and stuff like that. These are the same people that end up killing themselves as a high rate, or they end up doing stuff they shouldn't do. God gave us very simple rules. We're supposed to procreate, and we're supposed to glorify Him. And there are textbooks about how to do that as best as you can, because we all come from sin. We all lust. We all have this issue, and we have to get past it. But seriously, from the basic point of view, we're here to reproduce ourselves, to keep the line going on. We were given the life. We were given that gift from God to even be alive. So we're supposed to continually do this. Doesn't mean that this person is sitting there saying women should stay at home, that we're going to take back whatever rights that women didn't ever have. It's just this, we find out where the victim hierarchy finds out all the time. And I mean, it's really up there with most of the elite Jews. They're way at the top. They have to be up there. Right next to them are white liberal women. They are. They think everything is against them. They still believe in the patriarchy. They still believe that they're going to be the ones that are going to be dealing with more violence than everybody else. They think that men can't deal with strong women. They just have this mindset that's been forced down their throat, and this is what he's talking about in his speech, from the people in universities. Of course, that's come down from the social media, from mainstream media, and now it's in elementary school and middle school, DEI. All this stuff is part of that. And somehow women in this country, even though they're a majority, they claim some sort of victim status. Even though they're out earning men more, they go to college more, they live longer. I mean, it's like all this stuff, they have everything that they've got, and they still want to bring everybody else except look at themselves, and then realize later in life when they're unhappy, because we do have an epidemic of especially white liberal women who have mental issues, and they're on drugs. And this is just something that's been going on forever, before social media. It's because they were bought this lie that you have to compete with men at the workplace. So there was a struggle there, right? There was for a while. And then once we get in there, they started just changing everything for them. And then if a guy stands up and says something, they're shut down. And all he's doing is saying something that any conservative Christian person would say, that the best thing for a woman, if you're supposed to be, if you believe the Bible, you understand the man is the leader in the house. But that's that one role that he has. Pretty much everything else is the wife's thing. You have to raise the kids, you have to do this, be supportive, be submissive, but not what people think submissive means. Because God, as Adam, excuse me, as man, you have to be submissive to God. And there is a hierarchy in the house, but it's never like this idea that whatever you say has to be this, you know. And people want to go back. So well, we used to be property. It's like they believe stuff like this. What back then the theory was is that women could be trusted. So if you did something to a female, the man had to take care of it and was punished for it. So, but it's like the slavery thing. Everything goes back, right? And they want to point shit like that. And then when I look at other people that are well adjusted, that had a career and maybe stopped for 5 or 6 years to raise their kids, and then went back to the career and came back later, and they're very adjusted and great families, great marriages and stuff like that. And people they don't think that those people exist. That the only thing you can be is to do this, this, and this. Okay. It's funny that they're upset about this. This is what really gets them upset. And they're saying stuff he didn't say. You know, if it was something that he was like, no, women should not have any rights, shouldn't be able to drive, shouldn't be able to do stuff like that, I would say something about it. But it's all in context. He's talking at a Catholic university to women, young women, that have probably grew up in a conservative Catholic home that understand this already. That's why he got applause after that. And I'm still waiting for anybody that was in that crowd to come out and say, I can't believe what he said was so misogynistic. Haven't seen one. And now we're hearing this other thing too, is like, well, his wife, the only reason she can do that is because he's rich. And this is why she can do it. They have privilege because of it. Instead of they don't want to actually look at the situation. Women are more happy when they're at home raising the kids. They absolutely are. Every study will say that. It's like, and especially when they get past 50 or 60 years and they go back and look at if they were career orientated and they don't have kids, the regret that they have is palpable. And that's why they're out there trying to look 30 or 20. They're putting shit on their face. They're doing all the shit they can do. They're trying to live their life instead of becoming what God's plan was. I understand it, but I don't understand it. I just don't understand why everybody's that upset. What are they going to do to him? They're not going to fire him. Yeah, of course, the NFL came out and said they don't agree with him. Well, that's not. I mean, the NFL used to be, you know, kind of like a conservative type of thing. It's not like that anymore. But I mean, it's rare. I would say on TikTok, probably 90% of the people that are commenting are against him. And every now and then you'll see a young woman come up and say everything he said is 100% right. That, yeah, they're going to colleges and yeah, maybe I'll have a career. But once I get married and stuff, I want to stay home. I want to raise my kids. I want to be provided by my husband. And as men, we have to now realize that that's what our role is. We can't go down the Meg Cow and all this bullshit thing. That's just as bad as the feminists. And it's not in God's plan. Do we have to change the family courts? Yes. Can we call bullshit when it's bullshit? Yes. But our role is to lead in the house, provide, and protect our family, and produce with the women we're with, not having 1,000 other women to produce with. It's very basic stuff that makes the society go forward. You see what's happened in the black community. It's happening in the white community. It's going to happen in the Hispanic community. If we allow this stuff to continue on, we have to understand that there's roles. For 95% of all people, it's always going to be that way. The ones that are on the outside, They can do what they want to do. We're in a free society. You can do that. You can be gay and have their stuff and all that stuff. But, you know, we have to be more honest with ourselves. Uh, Abortion is wrong. This is a human being. It's murder. And if you're a Catholic, you cannot get up there and go to pro-choice rally and say that it's just all about women's rights. It's not. That person in your body is not you. I mean, and this is basic science. It's not some sort of religious bullshit. As soon as conception happens, it's a different DNA. It's a different person. Yes, they're in there in the mom to live like an incubator type thing, but it's a human. It's a different type of thing. This, I know this. I just almost everybody that's complaining about this are those people that went to college and they think that their best thing in their life is going there and just sitting in a cubicle for 80 hours a day and making some money because they compete against men. And they've been 40 years old and they're not married and they have no kids and they're all on some sort of Xanax and they're going to still blame the men, whatever, because they'll say, where are all the good men at? They can't deal with a strong and independent woman. You know, okay. Men don't give a shit about that. Just want to let you understand this. We could give a shit if you work at McDonald's. When we're with somebody, we want some peace, and we want them to understand that if we have kids together, that you're going to support them, and you're going to do what you're supposed to do as a mother. That's what you're supposed to do. Anyway, I think I'll end it right here. I support everything he said. I don't know what you call him, a Christian nationalist. I guess maybe he probably watched Nick Fuentes. I don't know. But he was talking at Catholic University, and people were getting upset. They weren't talking to people that were out in the ether. However, everything he said is 100% correct. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.